Hey there, this is Kat. Got a bug in front of me. And I am here with you live, and it's been a while, so I feel a little out of whack in doing these live broadcasts. But I'm excited to be here. I am excited for you to join me. So thank you so much for your time. You're going to get lots of value today. Today, I have a special guest, Ron Zagursky, and he's going to correct that because I told him before I get on the backstage, I said, "Hey, I'm not sure I'm going to butcher your name." So I apologize, Ronnie, for butchering the name. Anyways, we're going to talk about how to scale a healthy business and decentralize your team. So talking about tools that you can incorporate so that there is less involvement with the business owner, which I love. And I'll tell you why I love this as we talk through this. But let me bring Ronnie on board here. Hey, Ronnie.
Hello.
Thank
Thank you
you
for
for
inviting me.
Yes, and thank you for joining me. And before we get started, please correct your last name as I butchered it because I don't want anybody else to butcher it.
It wasn't that bad. It's Rony Zagursky.
Okay, good. Awesome. And you say it way better than I do.
It just sounds more exotic.
It does. It does. And you made it sound really exotic. Okay, so just give us a little background about who you are for those people that tune in, that pop in and out. That way they get a feel for who you are.
I'm business coach, helping organization, mid-sized companies to decentralize, to scale in a healthier way, and eliminating the dependency on the owner.
Okay, which I love. And I'm going to share why I love this because this is so relevant. And I don't think people understand how important this is. Okay. And if many of you know or have tuned in to my journey, I started becoming a business broker. And one of the biggest things that people ask me when they are looking at companies that I represent is how involved is the owner, because the more that business can run on its own, the more valuable that is to a buyer. So I'm going to repeat myself because this really sets you up, Ronnie. As the more that a business can run on its own, the more valuable it is to that future buyer. If you are ever going to exit or sell your company, this is so relevant. And I love that you're with me today, Ronnie, talking about this because it is a great topic, and it is great to if your goal is to somehow scale in 2023, or your goal is to somehow sell or exit in the next 2 or 3 years, this is a great topic to really just follow through with. So as we get into this, Ronnie, let's talk about what are some of the things that business owners should be thinking about.
Probably most important is building a team, because without the team,
Yep.
they cannot. I mean, they cannot scale. They cannot. Everything will be run through them. You mentioned about scaling, exit plan, selling the company, or maybe a transition to another generation,
Yep.
or it could be a transition to from me as a business owner and a CEO to hire a CEO that can run the company better than I do and actually cheaper. Uh, those three scenarios they need to think about. It's not only about thinking about selling the business,
Yep.
it's as well it's just getting their own freedom, because at the beginning of the origins of the business, most of the time is they created the business because they want to get freedom and wealth, and eventually they get the wealth that they don't have the freedom. So you need to surround yourself with the best people around you, that you can delegate all the tasks and all the minutia of the business.
Okay.
So without that, there's nothing. I mean, obviously at the beginning, when it's a startup phase, which is
Yep.
different from a scale up phase, sorry, In that stage, you are trying to figure out what is the best product that you can create almost immediate revenue. But once you know how to monetize your product, your service, your company, then you need to be more selective and you need to get around the team, KPIs, strategic planning.
Yes. So let's talk about some of the things you just hit on, because some things that you hit on are really, really important to anybody who's tuning in. First off, how does one find the right people? Because that was the first thing you said, is you got to have the right people, right? So how does one find the right? Is this internal? Is this external? What is that?
There is no specific answer to that. I mean, and actually, nowadays we are living in a war of talent because
Hmm.
it, you can hire anybody from anywhere in the world.
Yep.
So you need to be searching all the time. There's a concept called virtual bench, and whenever you're talking to anybody, it could be in a Starbucks, it could be the barista in the Starbucks, or it could be someone in the supermarket, or joining in a podcast, or flying. You're sitting next to somebody on your plane, and you start to share thoughts and ideas, and if you feel there is a connection of values, and maybe even better, passion,
Yep.
those are the people that you need to hire. It's not a specifically, I mean, one of the issues that I run with most of my clients, when they try to hire, for instance, a CPA or a CFO,
Yep.
they try to find the best CEO with the, sorry, CFO with all the credentials, all the tools, all the technical part of the role. However, if, if there's kind of disconnection that you don't feel that you can hang out with that person and go to a party or go during the weekend, it might be very good as a technical person,
Right.
but it won't be a good company for you. So it has to be a balance. That's why I
Yep.
said it's easy to find people with technical skills.
Yep.
It's difficult to find people that are aligned to your core values
Yep.
and your passion.
No, I agree, and that's a great point. And another thing that because again, I was in corporate America for 27 years, and so I've seen this happen, and I've seen it not happen. But something that should be happening is grooming within, especially if you have talented people, is grooming them to be the next manager or to be the next, you know, grow them within your company. And if you're not taking a look at the people around you and really tuning in, of that could be the next, manager, or that could be the next, person that we can promote with from within. I think that's a missed opportunity as well.
Correct. And definitely you need to develop the people that it's around you, because if there's some people in your company that has been with you, I don't know, 10 years, but they haven't developed themselves as a leader, as a
Yep.
person, as a technician, they're starting to be a weight on the boat.
Yep. Yep.
So definitely you need to find a way to develop everybody in the company.
Hmm.
However, there is there's a limit, specifically because the company grows faster than the people. So, just as an example, if I have the best salesperson in the company, and then I need to hire a sales manager,
Yep.
most of the time, business owners think that the solution is let's get the business, sorry, the sales, the best sales representative as a sales leader, which kind of 90% of the time it fails because they're great salesperson, but they're not great leaders about for salespeople, and that's called Peter principle.
Okay. Okay. I didn't know there was a name for it, first off. And secondly, I've seen this in action. I've witnessed it. I have been a part of it where I was in an organization where they had a great salesperson, and they promoted them to be a sales leader, and it wasn't a good fit. And a lot of times, I think the difficulty there And I concur with you. I totally get that. This, what you're talking about. Okay. I think the difficulty is that salespeople are really a good salesperson is a hunter, right? They like to, they're kind of like a I don't know, we can call them a wolf or whatever. They like to be in their own and they like to hunt, right? They're in their own pace, they're in their own environment. A sales leader has to be very inclusive, right? Inclusive. And
And
there's some,
inspirational.
yes, so there's some personality differences there. And the other thing too with a rock star salesperson is they may not have empathy, right? For a peer. Maybe for customers they do, but maybe peers is different, right?
Let's call them lonely wolves,
Okay.
which is true. I mean, there
It is
are
true.
lonely wolves. They
It
want to
is.
be by themselves. I mean, they want to be out and about and doing things with the client,
Yep.
but they might not be the best person to inspire others to achieve their goals.
Yep.
And we're just talking about salespeople.
That's right.
It happens in every single department in the company. And so when as a business owner they want to grow their people,
Yep.
the next position, they need to think about not only what are the skills that they need, technical skills, as well leadership skills.
Right. 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 And that makes total sense. Okay. So in our questionnaire, you talk about a DAO. What is a DAO organization?
Decentralized organization.
A decentralized, did you say?
Decentralized autonomous organization.
Okay. And this is bad?
No, on the contrary, that's
Oh, it's
what you
good.
want to
Okay.
create.
Okay. Okay.
You want to create decentralized organization because at the beginning, most of the time of the process that I do with clients,
Yep.
when I start with them, they cannot go away for vacations. They
Okay.
cannot enjoy their kids. They
Yep.
cannot go because every single moment there is an emergency or any decision that needs to go through and it needs a final check from the owner,
Yeah.
which is a nightmare because in that case that is not a business. That's
Yes.
an employment. I mean, it's self-employment actually.
Yes. Yes. Oh, I love that you're saying this stuff. This is great.
Why you live that? You live in that situation?
No, no. Again, in this other, business model that I have, the business broker, a lot of times, because I'm talking to a lot of buyers and they're like, I don't want to buy a job. I don't want to buy a job. I want to buy a business that they can fund, right? They can fund, but grow with people. And to me, that is someone who thinks more big picture of, they're just wanting to add jobs to their community, right? They're just trying to help the economy and so many other variables there, you know?
Just you just remind me the case of one client that he has a factory here in Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
He has been scaling the business. The organization is very independent from the owner. So, and it's a very profitable business. So this guy said, okay, I have money in the pocket. Let me search around and I will try to buy a business. So he went and bought a franchise in Texas.
Okay.
There are kind of a chain of pet stores, and
Yep.
so he didn't do really his due diligence,
Yep.
and he bought the business. And when he bought the business, he found out that the previous business owner was doing everything:
Wow.
grooming,
Yep.
brooming,
Yep. Yep.
cashier, and everything. So this guy that came from a business owner point of view, he started to be kind of almost a groomer,
Yes.
and he was desperate. And actually, he's kind of in this situation. So like, how do I grow this? So coming to in the perspective of as an investor, it's easier to see it that way. Actually, as you said in your intro, um, when you go as an investor or you want to buy a business, if you find out that the current business owner is totally immersed in the company,
Yep.
it doesn't have much value. It
Right.
might have in the books, but
Yes.
not in operational basis.
Yes, yes, and you're hitting it right. You're just hitting it, bing, bing, bing. Because again, at the end of the day, if someone's thinking about scaling their business or figuring out an exit plan or exit strategy, the key to getting a higher return on the sell is to be able to automate and to be able to have other people run the business.
And standardize the process.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so what is the self-employment trap? Are we still in the same? We're going around, right?
Kind of, because business owner, when you are in the startup phase and you
Yep.
created the company, you are you are everything there. You need to do
Yes.
almost from everything: sales, innovation, production, delivery. But as the company start to grow, you need to start to delegate. And
Yep.
most of the time, when you hit 15 people that you hire in the company, it changes the environment, it changes the dynamic of the people in the organization. And from 15 almost to 1,000 employees, there are kind of the same behaviors of this type of organization.
Yeah.
So as the company grows, it requires and demands more attention of the business owner.
Yes.
So the self-employment trap, it's a very simple question. How long can you be absent of the business, and really absent? No phone, no
Yep.
email, no interaction, with the exception that you went away to be with a very strategic partner or something, doing something very strategical for the business that
Yep.
is not part of the execution.
Okay.
And if the business owner cannot be absent of the business at least, let's call it 1 month,
Yep.
he's an employee. Actually, he's the worst employee because actually he's the one who gets less benefits,
Yep.
less money, and less free time.
Yep. Because they're doing everything. They're literally doing everything. They're not delegating and making it make sense. Yeah.
And there's an expression in English, there is none in Spanish, but it's like get out of your own way,
Yes.
because as you are an obstacle in the growth of the company.
Right, right. And I think this has a lot to do, and tell me if I'm right here, with people who can't let go of the control. Like they're so ingrained in having to have their hands in everything that they do not empower their people to have that ability to take over that, let's say, that one little function, right? Because I mean, like I'll use me as a great example. Is as I was growing, never do I ever want to do everything. I don't. I grew the business. I started the business because I wanted to grow the business and have, this empire that I have, but I wanted people to run it. I didn't want to run it. I wanted to grow it and create a presence and create a model, right? To create a model. And so accounting was the first thing I delegated because I hated doing my books. I hated the accounting, right? And also, I needed someone to help me hold myself accountable to expenses, right? To revenue, to my goals. And so that was the first thing I delegated. And I was so thrilled. I was like,
And which one was the last one?
the last one is I have two team leaders. Okay. So two team leaders, and I divided the team. So one team leader runs one part of the team, and the other team leader runs the other half. Okay. So now I'm just there. They come to me for advice or questions and things like that. I'm not running the ship. They are. My two team leaders are running the ship. And I love that.
There, most of the time, as you're as it happened to you, you
Hmm.
delegate one of those skills that you're not good at it and you hate it. And the last skill that you delegate is the one you are passionate,
Yes, I
because it's
agree.
difficult.
I
As you said,
agree.
like you don't trust that they're gonna do a better job that you do. I don't know if it's sales, innovation, or
Yep.
production or whatever. So it's very difficult to let it go that skill that a company needs, but I am very good at it, and I don't find a someone that can do it. And it's very common that I find business owners, and it happened to me last week that I was in
Mhm.
a strategic retreat, in a strategic meeting that we do like every 3 months, and we have like the quarterly and the annual, depends on the stage we are. And at some point, the business owners said to me like, "Okay, I cannot delegate. I get the point. I understand the relevance. However, there are idiots. They don't have the skills." And it's like, okay, if you tolerate idiot people in your company, that's what you get in. But
Yes.
if you don't want idiots, there are two options. Either they haven't been able to learn because you don't have the patience to teach them,
Yep.
either you haven't delegated enough to allow them to make mistakes and
Yep.
learn from there,
Yep.
or really they're idiots. It could be any of those scenarios, but in any of those, just work it. I mean, if you already find out that you're surrounded by idiots, make the change.
It's time to clean house. It's time to clean house. Yes. So let me touch on that because you make a great point. Again, is in the fact that people have two options, right? They have two options when they're hiring. They can either hire the best person and they have to pay a premium for that person, right? You can find a the best person and they pay a premium to get that best person. Or they can hire someone they can groom who has all the ability, who have the assets, who have the kind of like just like with anything, like I use standard operating procedures. I have characteristics for different things, right? In order for me to hire someone, they have to blend with those characteristics in order for it to be a good fit. And if you hire someone, invest the time and the energy into them. And again, I reflect on my two team leaders. My two team leaders are awesome. I promoted them from within. I trained them. I've groomed them. And and they're great team leaders. They have all great qualities of a leader.
And what was the question?
Nothing. It was a statement. It was complimenting what you were saying.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about then what are the most common toxic habits in a mid-sized organization that you have seen?
Well, actually, in the
Yep.
book that I published, that it's called the "Don't Let the Tail Wag the Dog."
Awesome. Okay.
There is an entire chapter. It's chapter 4, if I remember well.
Okay.
There are 34 toxic habits in the organization, which actually, since the moment that I wrote the book till
Yep.
now, I discovered more. So the list is getting bigger. However, one of the biggest ones that I found, there are two. One of them, it's called the flavor of the month.
Oh, yes, I've heard of this.
What is
But
that?
tell me. No, this is in like personal people world. When you
Uh,
like someone for a particular month and then they wear you out and then you're done, you're moving on to the next.
you're talking about Tinder and all those stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, flavor of the month in the business is that every single time that the business owner is exposed to new material, new technology, new tools, he will read a book and he will come back to his leadership team
Yep.
and share with them about, I don't know, profit first. And he will force his own agenda about executing profit first immediately. So the leadership team will drop everything that they've been working out and they will start with profit first. In the meantime, the business owner went to a different conference and they were talking about how important it is to build your, I don't know, your virtual bench. And
Okay.
they will come back and they will say, like, drop everything that you're doing and now it's time to work with virtual bench. So the cycle repeats itself. And what starts to happen is that the leadership team doesn't believe in anything that the business owner will bring in the future.
Yep.
And they don't allow enough time to test all those tools because they're trying so many tools in so short a period of time. And as well, it creates this nightmare for the leadership team, but as well for the business owner because it started to get desperate because none of them were implemented. So He doesn't see the benefits.
Yes, that makes sense.
There's another one called dysfunctional team.
Okay.
And this is the key why I am doing what I'm doing, because I came from a family that I grew up in a very dysfunctional family. And and in a very unconscious way,
Yep.
I was trying to create more how to say that in English, harmonious. How do you
Yeah.
say that?
Harmony. Harmony. Harmony.
Creating more harmony in my family.
Yep.
I tried everything that I could. And
Yes.
actually, that's the reason that I am a business coach, because the skills and the tools that I tried to implement with my family,
Yep.
which it didn't work out, by the way, uh, I implemented it in the business. And there's one, as I said, the five dysfunctions of a team. There is a book and a tool, very, very good one, done by Patrick Lencioni.
Okay.
He has a book called Five Dysfunctions of a Team.
Okay.
So the basis of the dysfunction is lack of trust. Then is lack of oh, I forgot in English. Conflict. Sorry.
Okay.
Then it's lack of commitment, lack of accountability, lack of attention to results. So you need to build your own team and understand when you gather all your team. The first thing that you need to figure out is how much trust there are among each other.
Okay.
Once you start to build up the trust among the team members and they know each other, they are more vulnerable, they know their strengths, the weaknesses, they are able to ask for help or receive help. Now is the time to improve the second layer, which is the conflict. You
Okay.
want team members to have conflict, but not conflict in terms that having a fight. You want them to debate ideas, because if two people are talking to each other about ideas, they will create a better end result by the end. So
Gotcha.
the third one is the lack of commitment. So once the team members are able, they trust each other, they have conflict or healthy debate, you want them to make decisions. And this
Yeah.
is where they get stuck, because they are talking and talking, but they don't make any decision on how to move forward.
Okay.
Then the fourth level is accountability. Once we committed to something, that task need to be uh, someone in the team have to be held accountable, which, by the way, that's one of the biggest issues that I find in Latin companies in Latin America.
Yep.
Accountability is a super issue, because in part of the culture there is this lack of accountability, and by the end is lack of attention to results.
Okay. And that makes sense. Um, and tell me a little bit about the book. Don't let the tail wag the dog. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's a business book. It's in a fable, so it's easy to read, simple, funny, actually.
Yeah.
um, with each chapter it brings kind of a problem and tools how to solve them in the organization. But
Okay.
it's the entire journey that a guy called Dan, the business owner of a company called Plastic Bag, he wants to scale his company. So it's the journey that this guy goes through, and it is actually step by step how to scale a company.
Okay.
And the funny fact, the the original book was done in Spanish,
Oh, nice. Okay.
and it's called Que la cola no mueva al perro.
Okay.
And the entire idea about this book was to deliver to Spanish speaker companies.
Yep.
However, it started to land in some business in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And some business owners, Spanish speakers, mostly Mexicans, they contact me and say, like, most of my team, they know how to speak Spanish, they don't know how to read it, because they are either second or third generation.
Yep.
So that's when they started me to ask. They asked me to write a book in English, Now it's starting to have his traction in the US with everybody English speaker, not necessarily people from Latin America.
Yes, and then that's awesome. I think that's a great success story and a testament to your book, which is awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that about the book because I appreciate it. So, how do you help businesses? What do you do? How do you help businesses?
I help businesses through business coaching to the business owner.
Mm.
I get together with them. It depends on the logistics and so on, but let's assume that once a month, either
Yep.
virtual persons, I will gather with them once every quarter with his leadership team, and we will do kind of a business team building exercise
Yep.
mixed with strategic planning,
Okay.
because actually it's an intervention. It's the best way to call it,
Okay.
because I go there and I find out what's going on and what's stopping them to get to the next level.
Yes.
And I just, in a very subtle way, presenting to them what is stopping them, and I help them through the journey
Yep.
to get to their goals.
Do you do you find that sometimes it is the CEO that is the barrier? Is the
Sometimes
okay? Because I
it's
mean, you know
most
what I
of
mean.
the time.
Okay. Because I mean, I could see like if you met with the team without me, they would say things differently than if you met the team with me. They would say things to be cautious.
Correct.
Okay.
However, the tools that I develop
Yep.
and the tools that I work with, you will be in the room, you will be part of the meeting, but I will give you instructions before we start the meeting.
Got you.
And one of them is, I need you to be an observant at the meeting and just keep as much as you can silent. Take notes.
Yep.
There is always going to be a point in the meeting that I will turn and ask you for a question or your perspective or your observation. But this is the moment that you need to step back and understand what's going on with the business. Either you have stupid people, as we said before,
Mm-hmm.
or you have great people, but you don't allow them to get things done,
Right.
or you will figure out that this is not the right organizational structure.
No, makes sense. Totally makes sense. This is awesome, Ronnie, and I appreciate you coming on my live show with me. I do appreciate it. And so, how do
I feel
people
honored.
how do people get a hold of you?
They could find me. There are two ways. They can find me in my webpage called ronyzagursky.com,
Yep.
or they could find me. We just changed the um, oh, I just see the connect with Ronnie and LinkedIn. Uh, there's as well our new webpage is called Steps something. I don't have it right now with me.
Well, give it to me and I will share it on all of the social media that we have you on, okay?
Correct.
So just give it to me, email me and I can share it. It's not a big deal. But they at least have the Ronnie and I'm going to spell it for those that are listening and not watching. It's Ronnie RonyZagursky.com.
Correct.
So if you're
And they can
tuning
find me
in,
like that in LinkedIn as well.
yeah, okay, right. And definitely connect with him on LinkedIn. He is there. He looks just like he looks like here. Make a connection, have a conversation. Again, I just want to emphasize that if anybody that is a business owner that is tuning in ever wants to scale or ever wants to set yourself up for an exit of some sort, whether, like you said, it passes on to a generation or you're going to sell it, you have to get your mindset in a position where you're not as involved and your company is running on its own, that it doesn't need you in the day to day. It's so much more valuable if you get it to that place. And that's what Ronnie helps people with.
Correct.
Whether they're keeping it or they're selling it or whatever, Um, so it's a great thing to think about and strategize as you think about your goals going into 2023 or 2024.
Just remind me a case of a client that a couple of months ago,
Mm-hmm.
he told me, you got me to the point that I I am almost doing nothing in the company, and I feel bad. So he started to create issues in the company, or he started to create kind of his own position. Like, dude, there's something else that you can do either in the company. Let's structure something great that you can do in the
Right. Do
business,
another
or
business.
or
Yeah.
do another one. But if you're really in love with this one, stop
Yeah.
sabotaging what we created. Either go find something else outside, or let's create a kind of a SWAT team inside the organization.
Yeah.
In this case, for you to do innovation, because
I
this guy loves innovation. So stop messing around with the operations. Stop messing around with the day to day. You're
yeah.
great with innovation. Let's create a team about for innovation.
I love it. That's great advice. Thank you again, Ronnie. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll have you on again. Okay.
It's up to you.
Thanks. Thank you for joining me today on Stand Out and Grow. I hope that you got something out of this because, again, this is very powerful. If you're thinking about growing, scaling your business, if you're thinking about exiting, this is the kind of thing you need to start working on and start thinking about. It does not happen overnight, does not. So, if this is something that you're planning on, you should take the leap, reach out to Ronnie, reach out to other people like Ronnie, but that's what's going to help you get that ball rolling. And again, I appreciate your time today. Thank you so very much. And until next time, you got this.